It's 12 noon on the East Coast, 9 a.m. on the West.
And this is Reprint.
This isn't breaking headlines. This is a second look with context added for perspective.
This is Reprint, edited after the headlines.
All right. Good morning to the West Coast and good afternoon to the East Coast. This is the Reprint, and I am your co-host, Crystal Jordan Jennings, along with my co-host, Victor Flavius, who is our
Hey,
publisher here at Lexington Parker.
what's happening, Crystal? How you doing? This is new.
I'm
This is
well.
different.
It's very different. Good afternoon, East Coast here. How's your morning been so far, Victor?
A little chilly. The weather here is like in the 40s this morning, so we catch a little bit of that cold weather. But I got my heat on and I got my sweater on, and it's gonna warm up. I think it's gonna be about 60 degrees later today, so not too bad. How about you?
We
How
are.
how are things?
It's crazy because just the weather goes back and forth so much here in Georgia. I was definitely not. I've been kind of struggling with just how your body changes and traveling. Been to LA, then I went to Alabama, and I was just like not really feeling well. But I think that we had a guy come out, and our actual air conditioner is our air conditioning systems for the entire house are out.
Okay.
So that is definitely not something that you want to have happen here in Georgia. So we're gonna have to get our air
Oh,
conditioners fixed, which
but
kind
you
of
got
sucks.
you got time, right? Because I mean, it's not like
Not
it's
much. Not much time. Not much time. Not much time because it's actually a little warm today. So
okay.
no, not much time, but it's always something. So I'm just gonna be grateful for the fact that I am here.
Mm-hmm.
And it can always, something's always going on, but you don't want to let that steal your joy. But that was definitely weird news to hear on a Friday morning, like, oh, you guys need to get entire new air conditioners for your home. So
Wow,
yeah. hmm
man.
But we are ending another week. It feels like this month has gone really quickly. Does it feel like that to you?
Yes, it seems like the year is flying by. It just seems
It
like
is.
every day there's so much going on, so much going on. It's like, oh my goodness, and you step outside and the world just seems like it's just flying past you. And we
hmm
already at what, March? What is it?
We're
20?
we're moving into March. We're
Yeah,
moving into the
yeah.
third quarter for 2026, which I feel like February has just flew by. I really think I saw a someone posted on social media platform. I can't even remember which one it was that, we're just because we digest so much information, I think
Yeah.
we are because we're getting like more information in the first 3 months of 2026 than
Mm.
some people have had over several years. Back in the day, we just didn't have, before social media, you didn't have this much information. You got the newspaper, maybe once a week, and you listen to your, nightly news. But that was about it. But I think social media is just, we're digesting so much information. It's kind of making things feel like it's moving in a much lightning warp speed. I think, that could be one of the reasons it feels like that.
Yeah, because it's not even that it's one platform. We're talking about Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, Truth Social. There's so many different
Oh, yeah.
platforms. YouTube, TikTok, and everyone has news and everyone has commentary and everyone has shows and everyone and then now Netflix have streaming
hmm
podcasts.
hmm
So, it's just a lot of information in different ways. And so uh, people like ourselves have to like take this information we have and put it on these other platforms. And it's just so much, you know what I'm
It
saying?
is. It
And,
is a
and
lot.
then, and then you get all these news stories with Epstein files and Trump this and Super Bowl that. And it's just, yeah,
Yeah,
it's a lot.
I was going through the news yesterday and it's, trying to get ready for today's show.
Mhm.
And it felt like it was Trump because I was like, I just don't want to talk about Trump every day. But when
I
you
know,
look at the
right?
news, it really is like it's just and it's Trump in so many different it's so many different situations, but it's almost like you can't avoid it, right? So I was like, I want to be
Yeah.
a conscientious, want to, give people news and what's happening, give them a little bit of you know, uh diverse perspective on the news, but it really is it's almost it would almost be irresponsible not to share what is going on with the president of the United States in so many different things. So it's kind of, and I know that, it probably would be this way with any other president, just not quite, maybe not quite as, I don't know the word. Maybe it wouldn't be quite like this, but it's so much. And it's just, I don't think I've seen, it's not even just politics, it's in every single aspect of news. And maybe that's what's different. Usually the president was, you would find information on the president in politics, right? So we have
Right.
pop culture, we have sports, but this time the president is involved with conversation about sports,
Hmm.
conversation about, pop culture. Like he's involved in every aspect of news. And that feels very much like the beginning of a dictatorship.
Yeah, it used to be where it would be like the president is going to pardon the turkeys, and that's what he's going to do. And the first lady's going to go to the school and read a book, and
Right.
and then if there's a war breakout, we hear something. But and it's official from the White House secretary and whatever. Now there's
Mm-mm.
press conferences every day. He has his own platform. He can get on at midnight and blurt something out. He's talking about
Right.
Nicki Minaj. He's over here doing this.
That,
He's
yeah.
threatening this person. He's lying about this. Like so much going on. And then what's weird is that sometimes, which we encountered this week, is like one day it'll be like nothing happening. And then the
Hmm.
next day is like so many things, bam, 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 bam. I was like, what? Like, it's just, sometimes it could be so much. But, I'm glad to have this platform with you and that we can sit here and we can, give our audience, a different perspective on what we're looking at, or not different, but just, we can talk about this stuff a little bit more
Right.
for our community and what it means.
Yeah, add a little bit of context. And you guys know you can always visit linuxandparker.com for some of the things that we talk about here and even some of the other issues that we discuss. I'm so sorry. I think my email is wrong on there. Crystal at it should be Crystal at Enchanted PR. But anyway, okay, let's get into
Okay.
today's news. We have more sad news about a beloved actor, actor Eric Dane, which most of us will recognize from his role on Grey's Anatomy, and also more recently, Euphoria. He has passed away at age 53. This is about a year after publicly revealing his diagnosis with ALS, also known as Lou Gehrig's disease. His passing has prompted tributes from co-stars and fans who remember him as both charismatic on screen, having a charismatic on screen presence, and being a candid advocate during his health battle. This is I'm not gonna lie, I was really shocked to see that. I remember him from Grey's Anatomy, but also he's one of those actors that you saw in, some other things. He's very handsome, but very familiar face. And
Yeah.
53 years old, extremely young. And also, I think that a lot of times we associate a person's the way a person looks with what they have going on. And, he was definitely, known as being, very handsome, having that, on-screen presence. For a long time, there was a running kind of joke on in pop culture where he was called Dr. McSteamy on
Hmm.
Grey's
I remember that.
Anatomy.
Yeah.
And so he was definitely one of the show's breakout stars, and I think one of the favorites. Probably was a big part of that show becoming such a big iconic show. Um, and I think when you see people that are in shape and that are that look very good for their age, as we say, it's hard to imagine that they would be dealing with things. But I think it's important for us to realize, as we learned this week with him and then last week with the actor that passed away, is around the same age. Like it
Yeah.
doesn't it's good for us to do everything we can to stay healthy, but a person's how being fit and in shape does not make you totally immune from different things that happen. He was also Jacobs on Euphoria, the show that I know Zendaya. That my daughter,
Yeah.
got me into that show because of Zendaya. But he played a really complex and controversial character, and they're a lot different than Dr. McSteamy, which I'm sure he appreciated. I know sometimes real actors don't like getting pigeonholed into that, like um, sex symbol type character. So he was able to play other things, but he came out about a year ago and acknowledged that he was suffering from this, and that raised a lot of awareness for the illness. What did you think when you saw that news broke yesterday, Victor?
I it shocked me because I remember seeing a news clip with him just like a day before where he was talking about he actually he was actually in a TV show. I think it's called I'm blind. It's a ABC TV show about a doctor. And so he played an ALS um character on the scene just like this week. It aired like 2 days ago.
Mm-hmm.
And I remember seeing him like a few months ago on another TV show where he was like a CIA operative commander or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, this is cool because I remember watching him on other shows. And then I heard he got the ALS. And I was like, what? This is like how? Like, it's but I know how film works. You record today and it doesn't come out for months, sometimes a whole year later. So I
Mm-hmm.
get that part. And sometimes, when we hear news in real time, it doesn't convert to film or television because we know that again, they record something today, it doesn't come out for weeks or months. So but the fact that he suffered and he had to go through that, it's unimaginable, and even for his kids and his family,
His wife.
I feel for those. Yeah, and 53 years old. I'm 52.
Yeah.
So I look at that, I'm like, man, you look at life differently as you get to be older. But he wasn't even
Mhm.
old. That's the thing about it is like, even with what's the actor that passed away 2 days ago? I forget his name from Dawson's Creek.
From Dawson's
Even
Creek.
even yeah, even he was even young. How was he? 49 or something like that? He was,
Yeah, I think he was right around 50. But
yeah,
it's right, you're right. That is weird because both of them was interesting. Both of them were advocates for their that was James Van Deerbeek that was on
yeah,
Dawson's Creek.
mhm,
And he actually was 48. So both of them were able to bring awareness to the illness, which I think is a great thing. And for others that are struggling with it.
yeah,
Unfortunately, if you are a actor at a certain level of celebrity, people pay a lot more attention to what you think is important. And so I appreciate the fact that they both use their platforms and their fame to help bring awareness to something that they were struggling with, but also a lot of other people. So I think
yeah,
I'm always impressed when people use their platform in a positive way. Um, so often celebrity is used in a negative, for a negative way, to be able to get away with doing different things. And um, for people to bring awareness to something that they're struggling with, I think the others that are struggling with it and that probably don't have the resources that they do probably feel heard. So um, very strange because both of them were, like I said, very, very recognizable faces in Hollywood and definitely not the age that you would expect to hear,
not at
they would
all.
no longer be here. There were a few other um, people that have passed away that were a little bit older, that I think
Yeah,
um, it's just different. Not that you ever wanna hear about, someone passing away, but
no.
when yeah, um, Robert Duvall passed away and, just recently, and he was let me see how old he was.
I think he was
Huge
98, I think. 92, 90 some 92, I think he was.
Yeah, let me see. 95.
95. Okay.
95. He just so that's so yeah, so when you hear it was sad to hear that Robert Duvall passed. We're very he's a face that you will always one of the favorite
Yes.
actors, but to pass away at 95,
You
just
lived.
it's a little bit easier to swallow and to
Yeah.
digest, to be like, "Oh, we can celebrate the fact that he lived a long life, and he was, very well, people really, really celebrated him and appreciated him." But when you hear someone passing away at, um, 48
50,
or
48.
53,
Yeah.
that is very difficult.
And can't.
Patrick Dempsey, who was also
Hmm.
on, Grey's Anatomy, yeah, talked a little bit about his final communication with Eric, about a week before his death, and it was very, touching. He shared that, with TMZ, but it was just very touching to hear him talk about his friend. I guess it just reminds us to always, like you always say, treasure the people that you
Yeah.
love, make sure that you tell
Yeah.
them, make sure that you love on them while you have them.
Can we talk about the fact too that a lot of people don't understand that celebrities or actors don't make a lot of money. There are different levels to acting, of course, and different levels to the thing. But just
Mm,
because you see a person on television or on a billboard or in a magazine or on radio doesn't equate to them having fortune and all this wealth. And a lot of these actors at the end of their careers don't have the monies that they need because these illnesses, or pretty much most illnesses, they require a lot of health care, and it puts a strain on the family's budget, especially
mhm.
if you got 3 or 4 kids. And these two gentlemen that passed away, they had 3 or 4 kids.
Families. Mhm.
And so they did everything they can as humanly possible to sustain their livelihood and leave something for their family. But it's just like I said earlier. When you film on television or the silver screen, which is movies, and then it comes out as different times. And the same with I would say when it comes to finances too. Like you might make money in your time, but it doesn't last forever. And a lot of these streaming deals, a lot of these television deals, it goes to the networks, and so people out here are really suffering. So I just wanted to say that. And also, the Reverend Jesse Jackson passed away too. Just to mention, he
Mhm.
suffered from something as well too. And he was a little bit older, but he lived a full life. We've seen him from the
Mhm.
70s, 80s, 90s. Yeah, so it's
Yeah, he was
unfortunate.
he had been sick for a while. I know the family did
Yeah,
not wanna share that. I had the opportunity to, speak with him back in 2020 and, maybe 2021, and he like I said, he was definitely you could tell he was definitely not himself. He was still involved in, behind the scenes in the political,
yeah,
race. Um, and was definitely his presence was definitely felt, but he'd been struggling for a while. But I do understand his family's desire to keep that private, because
yeah.
especially if it's something that an illness that he had Parkinson's, I believe, or
Yeah, yeah,
let me
I think it was
let me
Parkinson's.
make sure. But I do know that there was, like, some touches of, him just not being himself, right? I don't know if it was, like, dementia or something when I did have a chance to interact with him, and I do understand families' desire to keep the public out of it because the public can be very, intrusive and just rude,
Yeah,
and if you're still struggling to deal with something, I could see how that would not be helpful to have people commenting on it and, just kind of taking your pain and using it for clickbait or headlines. So I
yeah,
definitely understand that. Going back to Eric, he was married to Rebecca Gayheart, who's also a very popular actress, and they were married, I believe, in the early 2000s. But I remember seeing that they were um, like petitioning for divorce. It was announced they were going to get divorced, And then the petition was withdrawn, and then it came up again. I guess people were kind of speculating on their marriage, and Rebecca completely withdrew the petition in last year. And I believe there was conversation about the fact that she did not want to get divorced, she did not want to leave him while he was struggling with that. They were gonna, be
Yeah.
a family, but I think the actual like romantic
Portion of
part
their
of the
lives.
marriage,
Yeah.
was not there. But she was definitely um, committed to standing there by his side and not letting him be alone, and forcing him to go through that alone. I think that's beautiful. I think that's what you're supposed to do. I don't think that. Well, I think divorce is horrible anyway, but when someone is struggling with something, um, for her to, to leave him, um, when he's at his lowest is would have been harsh. And I also think people forget that marriage is really supposed to be through sickness and health, and sickness can be very difficult, you know.
Yeah,
Um,
you're right.
yeah, so I just wanted to add that because that has been public that they were struggling with the marriage, and I do remember last year her saying that she was not gonna leave him, she was not gonna divorce him. They would remain married even though they were not necessarily, together as they were initially. And they have 2 daughters. I would have just assumed just because he was a very popular actor that he was, in a better space. And then she also has been very popular. They were like she was like one of the biggest stars in the 90s. She was definitely has been consistent since then. So we send well wishes to their family as they, deal with this very difficult time.
Yeah.
Well, we talked about earlier not able to get away from President Trump's name in the news, and it doesn't appear that we're going to be able to get rid of the Epstein files and anytime soon. We keep hearing the backlash from more names and information being released on in these Epstein files. And King Charles the third has publicly distanced himself from his brother, Prince Andrew, um, after the ex royal's arrest in connection with the alleged misconduct in public office. In a rare and direct statement, Charles pledged the palace's full support for the investigation and stressed that the law must take its course as the monarchy navigates one of its most serious public crises in decades. What's just interesting to me about this is how quickly, as we talked about last week, Victor, other countries, even England, how quickly and swiftly they react to this type of public disgrace, which is very different than what we see happening in our country.
Yeah, we see what's happening. We know Andrew has been in trouble for a minute. His mom took him down from wherever he was, changed his name, kicked him out, moved him
Hmm.
around, whatever. Yeah, so now his brother's king, and they have to set the standard, especially what people expect. And a lot, it's funny because what is it? South Korea? Yeah, South Korea. Their president was involved in a coup or insurrection, and they
Hmm.
just sentenced him to life in prison
The life in prison, I saw that. Yeah.
for insurrection.
Hmm.
And we had an insurrection, 2 years
Did.
ago or whatever, and nothing happened, right? So we are seeing the moral decay of America. All we're seeing right now is what usually happens when uh, companies or people get in trouble. There's a bailout. There's some sort of like parachute money. There's some sort of like, I'll step down and I'll keep my money and I'll go away. So, whatever. But there's never any criminal charges usually charged. Or if it is, it goes down to the lower person in the lower scale. Oh, we found out that such and such signed this, and so we'll put him in jail. But meanwhile, the big guy that runs a company or ran a company for 20, 30 years gets to go away. And so I'm not sure um, if America's CEO has uh, immunity from the law. But yeah, it's we've seen a lot of countries have fallouts, and people
Hmm.
are stepping down. I mean, every minute I pull up internet, there's always somebody stepping down. There's somebody retiring, or in the
Mhm.
private sector. But as far as heads of states or government, yeah, this is the first one we've seen on this scale. When I saw
Yeah.
it, I was like, what? Yeah.
Yeah, I was surprised that they but I do understand. I mean, they don't want that connection. And the video that was released, there's been a
Yeah.
couple of videos I've seen of him that were released were troubling, but I don't think that they're more troubling than some of the things that we've seen here. Former President Bill Clinton and Hillary Clinton have been named in that as well. And there hasn't been any really backlash for that. It's interesting because King Charles, basically, his language in that statement emphasized the duty to country over family, and that is interpreted, by royal watchers as a deliberate distancing move meant to protect the institution of the monarchy. And I feel like, we just don't have that here. First of all, we haven't seen anyone definitely, familial ties that way, but we are people there. I mean, for him to do that to his brother it just says a lot. And here, in our country, we have people that won't even speak out against someone that's a colleague that might have been, it's just very different how
Yeah, it's just different.
scandal
Yeah.
is handled. And I think that, and this eventually America is going to pay for that, because I did see um, some information on how other countries are viewing what's happening here, and that there's not really being any consequences or repercussions for some of this information that's coming out. Yes, some of these CEOs have stepped down, but to your point, they've been able to do it in private and with dignity, as opposed to being ousted, the way King Charles is doing with his brother. So it's just gonna continue to get worse, I guess. I guess I was a couple weeks ago, I was like,
Yeah.
"Can we please stop hearing about these Epstein files?" But no, we cannot. Some really big names have been named, as far as not just being affiliated, but being, instrumental in, allegedly being instrumental in, recruiting. And I heard Naomi Campbell's name was mentioned as someone that was
Yep.
allegedly recruiting young people. And there are other people as well. It's just like, but her name has been mentioned quite a few times. And I just saw that it was mentioned in regards to recruiting and kind of curating these opportunities. Another thing that's interesting to me is that there's a connection between all these different countries being a part of this circle, and so it's not just Americans. It's a lot of royalty from other countries, heads
Yeah.
of state.
Yeah.
Like and it just lets you know there's a whole nother world going on. There's a whole nother
Yeah,
world.
we see it in movies and TV shows all the time, where
Yeah.
there's like these mansions with these rich guys, and all these young girls come in, and then the cops come and do a raid or whatever. We see it all the time. Law and
Mhm.
Order. You could name the TV show uh that has some type of drama or cops, and that would be an underlying part of it. So we know trafficking is a thing,
Mhm.
that is a big business in the black market in the world. But this is the first time we've seen it actually pull names, and it could destroy countries. But this has been going on for centuries. This is nothing new. This is all this time, like I say. And but the part about it, I think, that most people are looking at is America loves to, what they say in certain places, throw rocks and hide their hands. America
Mhm.
loves to be America loves to be the moral police on everybody else's country, but when it comes to our country, it's like, oh no, we're doing investigations. We're gonna form a committee to form another committee to bring this committee to look at that committee to then come back in a year and tell us what it is. And it's like, what are
Right.
we talking about?
Yeah.
Did he do
Yeah.
the crime or not? Because I'm sure if this person was a regular Joe Schmo that didn't have any money, lock him up under the jail, done. You
Mhm.
know, but because it's Bill Gates, and because it's allegedly Donald Trump, and it's allegedly this person, allegedly that person, that now we have to do investigate. We don't know, and then the president
Yeah.
is walking around talking about he is exonerated. Where? Like, who exonerated you? Your name is over 1,000 times in the document. What are we talking about?
He
I don't
exonerated
know.
himself. I did also see yesterday that Kanye West went on a rant.
Oh, he did. I missed that.
Yeah,
Oh, I
another
missed that.
rant
What do you say?
that
What do you say?
naming Jay-Z and Pusha T in the allegations, and said that there was this really long rant where he referenced another rant. He had said, he named them and said that that's why he is not. No one, owns him. No one can stop him from talking because he is free. He's not. He actually said in this rant that his mother was sacrificed. He made mention of other celebrities that have had family members or people close to them have been sacrificed. It was very, very unhinged.
Really? Wow. I gotta
But
see this
yeah,
interview.
yeah. And in regards to, you guys see your heroes. No one will say anything bad about Jay-Z, but I'll say what I want. It was just
I,
um it's gonna go on for a long time. And I think that Kanye definitely, knows a lot. Um and I think it has been exposed to a lot. We're not sure. It's all allegations, but it was definitely unsettling at the very least,
I
you
don't
know.
know.
Um More unrest. U.S. and Iran tensions between U.S. and Iran have escalated into gunboat diplomacy as critical nuclear tank talks hang in the balance. With Iran, Iran conducts joint naval drills with Russia in the Gulf of Oman. The U.S. has moved the USS Gerald R. Ford craft carrier into the region. President Trump has warned that bad things happen if a meaningful deal isn't reached, while U.S. officials indicate the military forces necessary for a potential strike will be fully in place by mid-March. Trump always talks about something in very elementary terms. That's just interesting to me. We're talking about gunboat diplomacy and the Gulf of Oman and the United States military via the Russia and Iran, and he says bad things happen. Trump's
Yeah.
bad things warning is being blunt, stating that Iran must make a meaningful deal or face consequences. Um, Analysts suggest this rhetoric should be taken at face value given the buildup of warships and planes in the region. So it's probably more than
Yeah.
likely
It's
to have
it.
some.
Yeah. It's a threat because Iran supports supposedly Hezbollah, but Iran supports Gaza, people of Gaza and Palestine. So
Mhm.
we know that Israel is America's proxy or America's place in the Middle East, quote, quote, Middle East. So if they take out the biggest threat, which is Iran, then they have free reign to do whatever they want and to control and run
Mhm.
the Middle East. So this is pretty much what that boils down to. We saw when Saddam Hussein was president, not president, yeah, of Iraq.
Mhm.
They claimed that he had weapons of mass destruction. He didn't have it, but they did it anyways because they wanted to control the oil, control the money, control whatever. And so these things, pretty much what happens in this stage is that they will pretty much make a play and say, oh, they have weapons, they have nuclear weapons, they have this, they have that. And a country will be like, we don't have it or we're not close to it. But my thing is, who makes you the big muckety muck where you could tell another country what to do and what not to do? Um, I don't know. This is a little outside of my pay grade, but it's just when it comes to political situations on the world scale, America again likes to be the moral
Mhm.
police and move around and tell people what they can and can't do. And that is what we see now is a change in the how the world is with even with the BRICS, BRICS is another money system that they're setting up. Other nations are, and we see what's happening in those places where countries are starting to pull back from American-used money and oil. So it's interesting what's happening, and then this too, people are saying is a distraction that he's using because of the Epstein files. So people are like, we can be at war tomorrow because his name's mentioned in the Epstein files. And
I mean, that could be a stretch. I mean, and
I
I
mean,
do that could be a stretch, but the America acting as the moral police is not. This is not new with Trump. This has been
no,
the policy of our country for as long as we've been here. And I think, when you visit other countries, you can hear that there's a lot of people a lot of countries don't appreciate our constant um, intrusion into what they're doing. So I just think, it can be easy to look at everything and think, okay, well, this is all Trump, but this is just the American way.
yeah.
It's out of control right now. And I think it just looks very hypocritical with what we have going on here. I would definitely be like, shouldn't you be concerned about what's happening in your country? I mean, our country financially is
Struggling
in a
right
bad
now.
place. Yeah. So I just don't, that's strange. But that has been something that we've been doing forever. And we have more dissension, constant dissension. The Texas 2026 Senate race. Um, Late night host Stephen Colbert is being credited with sparking a major shakeup in the Texas 2026 Senate race after Colbert jokingly suggested on the Late Show that Texas Democrats James Talarico and Jasmine Crockett should just flip a coin to decide who runs against GOP Senator Ted Cruz. The two rising stars actually met. Following their discussion, State Rep Talarico officially withdrew, leaving the U.S. Rep Jasmine Crockett as the clear Democratic frontrunner to challenge Cruz in was expected to be a high-stakes national battle. That is very interesting. We have just politics and pop culture and everything is all mixed up. We're just all one
All over
big
the place. Yeah.
sister like. um but I mean, Jasmine Crockett is probably going to take the lead, and she's got well, I don't know. Texas is a different type of state. So I don't know that Jasmine Crockett definitely has a lot of national support. She's seen as one of those voices that represents the African American community um in a way that relates to everyone. Um Very, very in your face, if you will. But
Yeah.
I don't know if that will work for Texas. I mean, I don't we'll see. Texas is still very much a good old boys state. So it'd be interesting to see if Jasmine would be able to upset Cruz.
I think there was another person that won in the Texas race. I forgot who it was. I have to look at that again. But Texas, just backfired on the Republicans that Talarico was on the Colbert Show because
Mm.
it got more eyes than they wanted to happen. Because I think right now it's like 3 million views
Oh wow.
on YouTube, and they didn't want him to be on the show. So it backfired, and I think that other states are having a surge in the Democrat side of things. And if the Democrats win in 2028 midterms, it's going to be a wrap for the Republicans coming up for the 2028 presidential election.
Mhm.
That I'm very interested to see who's going to be the candidates because it's going to be all fresh blood. There's no more Biden and there's no more Trump. There's the old guys. The old system is pretty much gone at this point. If you think about it, John McCain was the old guard. Barack Obama came in and moved that out the way. Then we had Trump, which was fighting against Biden, and I mean against Barack, and then Biden. So those are the old guards. They're gone. So now we have fresh new blood. So I'm curious to see who's going to run for both parties, because I don't think JD Vance has enough support and love that people want to see him for president. Even as a Democrat or independent myself, I would say JD Vance doesn't do it for me as a person or a
Well, I know
president
he
because of
doesn't do
what.
it for you.
Yeah.
I don't know if people. I mean, I don't know. Some of the Republic. He's been doing a lot of. He's very vocal. And I don't know if the Republican base would be. He's definitely younger, a lot younger than
Yeah.
most vice presidents have been. And so I'm not sure because I'm kind of out of touch with that base. I'm not sure, but I think we'll be able to see here shortly if he does. But I know he's been extremely vocal. He's definitely been campaigning for his own support, and I think that he's definitely looking to get that nod. It'll be interesting, and it's interesting
Yeah.
because he so Pence and Trump did not gel, which was
No. Mm-mm.
interesting because there was dissension, in with the president and the vice president, but he and Vance seemed to be a little bit more in cahoots, if not just in front of, you know, Trump doesn't make any negative statements about him, where he did Pence quite a bit. I don't know.
That's
So I,
because
I
well, that's because Trump is an alpha male and Vance is not, and you had Pence and Trump were both alphas in the situation.
I don't know. Pence
You know
was
what
an
I'm saying?
alpha,
So
but I wouldn't
I
necessarily
mean, he
call Pence
was
an alpha.
because whenever he spoke, it was really fire and brimstone. It was really when he spoke, his beliefs and when he came from. I think when Trump came on first, I think just like how Barack was, they needed somebody that was more of a politician,
Mm-hmm.
more seasoned politician, and
Hmm.
more loved by their party to kind of like balance out the ticket.
Right. I agree with
So
that.
so so now with Trump and Vance, it kind of the same way, but Trump has more upper hand than Vance do. Vance is more like, okay, you're a politician and you have the younger crowd and what I'm saying, conservatives, and Trump has more of the older crowd where the money is. So let's put these two together and make the ticket
Mm-hmm.
stronger. I
Mm-hmm.
see it that way. But for Vance by himself, I don't know because he's wishy-washy. One minute he doesn't like Trump, next minute he's on Trump's ticket. Next minute, he's saying this, and I don't know. I mean, he could be their pick, but I don't know. We'll
We'll
see. We
see.
have to watch and see,
Both
yeah.
of us are out of touch with that with that base, but we'll see.
Oh, I am. Yeah, I very much am.
Yeah, we'll see. We'll see what they choose. There was an interesting um, disagreement on The View, and The View is one of the few talk shows besides Jennifer Hudson. We did hear that her show is safe, but there was an interesting eruption as The View panelists accused Trump of being racist, and Savannah Chrisley, who is the daughter of what is Ted Chrisley and his wife that were the what are they? They're
I don't
reality
know.
TV stars. They were
I
reality
guess.
TV stars that were sent to prison for fraud.
Oh, yeah.
And so President Trump pardoned the Chrisleys. So it makes sense that, and Savannah actually was the one that went and um, basically campaigned for Trump to pardon her parents. She's the
Oh, okay.
one
It makes
that
sense. It
made
makes
that
sense
happen.
now.
Yeah.
It makes sense
So
now. Yeah.
yeah, so she owes, I'm sure, as a part of that agreement,
Yeah.
even if it wasn't said out loud, I'm sure she was expected to be a advocate for President
Mhm.
Trump with with their pop culture audience. Um, and so she was basically arguing with the entire cast about Trump not being Todd and Julie Chrisley. I call him Todd. Todd Chrisley. He's quite a personality. They were in prison for around a year, maybe a little bit over a year, and then President Trump pardoned them. But Savannah defended President Trump against all claims of racism. The conflict ignited after Chrisley shared a personal story about Trump saving the life of a Black friend. This prompted
Mm.
immediate and sharp rebuke from Sonny Houston and, of course, Whoopi Goldberg. Um, it was pretty ugly. I did watch the interaction, and Savannah is trying as hard as she can, but she's probably not fit to debate with Sunny Houston and Whoopi Goldberg, who are probably some of the sharpest intellectual minds on television,
Mm.
and she's definitely not of that ilk. So it was really uncomfortable. They tried to really show her the error of her ways. They brought up
Mm.
the Lion King controversy and the meme that was posted by President Trump showing Barack and Michelle as monkeys. And Savannah said that was a failure of the White House. She just refused to put any responsibility or accountability on President Trump. Whoopi Goldberg pivoted from personality to policy, arguing that the label of racist stems from executive actions, especially specifically the targeting of DEI programs during the administration's first week in office. Savannah didn't have much pushback for that because she couldn't really speak to that, but she definitely was, arguing from a very emotional stance, saying a staffer was responsible for the things posted and that Donald Trump is he's a good person. She said she's seen him personally be with certain people this way. I know that there was a um, Black History Month program at the White House, and the contrast between the president's public outreach to the Black community and the co-host's fierce opposition remains primary driver of the show's viral moments. I mean, people know that The View is extremely liberal. They are huge antagonists of President Trump. So I don't know why Savannah would even sign up for that. Definitely out of her wheelhouse. Did you see the interaction?
Yeah, I saw some of it, and to it's crazy because you say something like he has a Black friend. I mean,
He saved a
that
Black friend.
he saved, yeah, but
Saved a Black friend's life.
to say that, to even say that is kind of like crazy because that's like the first. That's like people always say that's like the first race thing that a racist would say. It's like, oh, I have a Black friend. Oh, I know Black people. Oh, my best friend
Mhm.
is Black. Like, what? Why would you say that on
And Trump
national
is known to
television?
say stuff like that. My Black friends, the
Yeah,
two
I mean,
women. Yeah, he,
it's
he makes a lot of off-color remarks that fit that. My Black friends, or my, what does he call them? Oh my gosh, it's
I
just
don't know. Yeah, it's yeah.
bless her heart. But I mean,
She
you
tried. I
know,
mean, she tried to say stuff, but you come on the View, you know you're gonna
you don't
get
know.
pushback.
Go on the View. You don't go on the View. If you
No,
are not a liberal, you do not go on the View.
you don't.
It's
Yeah,
very, very biased. But
yeah.
I do put to her defense. I mean, if President Trump pardoned her parents, I mean, I would owe him my loyalty
Allegiance.
as well,
Yeah,
allegiance as
yeah,
well. So I mean, you can't, she's a young woman that at the end of the day, it could have been anybody in office. She wanted her mom and dad home. Her mom and dad committed fraud,
yeah.
uh, a lot of fraud, and they were pardoned just because I guess they're good white Americans, and
They probably donated to his campaign a lot of money too.
probably donated to the campaign. But I don't know. I don't know if they have much, but they're back on. They have a podcast. It's very popular. Todd is a very interesting fella. Very interesting fella. But
Yeah.
that was difficult to watch. That's all I'm gonna say right now. So he's a very interesting fella. Moving on, there's been some continued backlash, and I've talked about this a little bit on my channels with America's Next Top Model. There's a Netflix docuseries titled Reality Check, America's Next Top Model, and basically the show was put through the ringer, and Tyra Banks came out looking like a supervillain. But what was
Mm.
interesting is Cycle 3 winner Eva Marcel, who is one of the biggest names and has had the biggest career since the show. She came out against recent waves of criticism, and first of all, acknowledged that she was not included. She was not asked to be a part of it. But she was very vocal in saying that there was no sorry big enough. She was disgusted to see some of the things that she wasn't even aware of that happened on the show before her cycle or even after her cycle. All the other contestants and judges have called out the show for being insensitive and toxic. And Marcel argued that Tyra Banks' intentions were always pure and aimed at expanding beauty standards. She acknowledged that while some moments might have been politically incorrect by today's standards, they were attempts at inclusivity at the time. And I do think that's a big part of the conversation when we go back and watch now. But there's so many things you could go back and watch now
Yeah.
that would be considered disgusting. But at the time, in real time, it wasn't like that. But she did, I think Eva did a great job of saying that wasn't her experience and also saying that there should have been apologies made for some of the things that, that she witnessed. Also, Takara was not asked to come back, and she's also another one of the stars of the show that went on to have a career. Winnie Harlow, one of the biggest models,
Mm.
supermodels, out now, was a America's Next Top Model um, contestant, and so it's just interesting. I just thought that to me, I think the docuseries would have been a little bit more balanced if they
Yeah.
had shown the positive, because oh Lord, what it came off as, the show had only negative actor effects for the women. But the reality is there were, and they said that basically no one that was on the show had been able to be taken seriously afterwards, and
Mm.
that's not true, because there are several names that have gone on to do very, very well. But they obviously wanted to show wanted to craft a certain narrative, and they did. It's interesting to me because the Diddy documentary was slammed for being biased, but I feel like when I watched the Diddy documentary, it was very balanced. Like, it showed a lot of
Very
good
balanced. Yeah.
and bad. But with this docuseries, it's definitely not as controversial, right? There was some very
Yeah.
difficult things to watch, but it was really not balanced at all, because you didn't see that.
I feel
Yeah.
like in the world of fashion, it's very cutthroat, right?
Mhm.
And we know, well, I think, okay, so America's Top Model was pretty much one of the first reality type TV shows that we've seen.
Mhm.
And so they kept it kind of raw and show behind the scenes and what the girls go through. And we heard stories about what the models go through and how much they didn't get paid and what was promised and what wasn't. And, you know, we know that in that business is very, very, very cutthroat. If you
Mhm.
weigh 5 pounds over, you cut. You can't do it. If you can't walk, they put you through such a rigorous program that it's almost impossible to be a model. I mean, what they're looking for. And then we saw the whole model industry change, where it's like people that can't even walk a catwalk, or that doesn't even look beautiful according to their standards, were all now picked. We saw women of different sizes and heights and colors, and same thing. And we're like, it just changed. So to see this documentary come out now is kind of interesting. My question is why? Why now? Is it just a money grab to say we want to put something out? I don't know.
No,
You
I think
know?
it's I think a lot of documentaries have come out on things that were big during the 90s. I mean, there was Nickelodeon. I think there's more coming with
Yeah.
Nickelodeon. I mean, that's just part of what sells, because people love nostalgia, and America's Next Top Model was one of the biggest shows in television history. So I think it makes perfect sense to bring it out. And there was Scandal. I think Scandal documentaries now are known for exposing scandal behind the scenes. And when you can take Scandal for something that was as big as America's Next Top Model, then it's definitely going to do really well. But I think there's just a appetite for people to see behind what some of their favorite things were. And it's been like that for a while. But I think that I'm shocked that Tyra was a part of it, because it definitely painted her as a villain. She
Yeah.
came off as very cold, very aloof, very out of touch, and not personable, and wanting to you know, make up for maybe some of the wrong that the show did to some of these women. But I think that hearing from Eva and Takara was offered some balance. I think, which was
But that's the crazy part about it is that, now that this comes out, as like I already knew what happened back then. I saw the mess that was going on. It was in the paper like constantly. It was in the news constantly. Tyra Banks, And so to me, I'm not like shocked by what we see in the documentary. But
I
you know, I,
was, and I was a
yeah,
big fan of the show. I was a big
yeah,
fan of the show. I also followed it in the news, but I don't in the news, we didn't see any of the things that were stated, that was in the documentary. I mean, just the way the girls were treated. So I
mm,
was shocked because, as somebody that really watched the show, and I made a statement that I would always feel worse about myself when I watched the show, which is weird. I don't know
wow, it's
why I would
crazy.
watch it because I would always feel really bad about myself,
Yeah,
but because you don't measure up to those standards at all, it's like, oh my gosh, I'm so on the opposite side of what the standard of beauty is. But I would watch it because every girl wants to be considered beautiful and wants to figure out how to become more
mm,
beautiful. Tyra's definitely a trendsetter because she's one of the only African American supermodels. So
yeah.
between Tyra, Naomi Campbell,
Naomi
and
Campbell, yeah,
Beverly Johnson, Amon, those names meant a
yeah.
lot to the African
Those
American
are the
community.
names.
So Tyra also went on to have a television talk show. I mean, she's a big, big part of the beauty conversation in our country and even pop culture. She was an actress. She was in higher learning. She was very important to that time. So seeing that she was, very disconnected, which you have to be a boss. Realistically, you do have to be disconnected. But I would have. It was discouraging for me to see her be as um just she came off very cold, but also very model-esque, like what I would assume is like a
Yeah.
model. Like I'm just trying to, make a hit show. I want the fame and I'm not really concerned about a lot of tears afterwards. But it is definitely an interesting docu-series and
What if she was white and like Devil Wears Prada? Would she have the same backlash? I don't think she would have.
probably not. That's a good point. That's a
Because
good point.
because
But
white
I
black women are labeled as angry. So I'm just
But
saying.
the problem is a lot of the negativity was towards other Black girls. So that's part of the
Okay.
issue is that, yes, she was, this symbol for, and I think when you're one of one, right? You're one of the only Black, you have a lot of responsibility because then every Black girl sees, oh, if she can do it, I can do it. But when she was harder and on some of the Black girls, I feel like she's a product of her environment. And that's what I said.
Yeah.
I feel
Yeah.
like she's a product of this environment. She's going to be harder on the Black girls because she knows in real life it's going to be harder on the Black girls. I mean, we were
Yeah.
taught, we were
Hmm.
growing up that you have to be twice as good. So I think that's the energy that she brought. But unfortunately, that can also be seen as you're giving me a harder time. And
Yeah.
some of the girls felt like that. But I remember Tyra was in this movie called Life Size where she played a doll
I
and
remember
she
that.
played
Yeah.
a Barbie doll, and so and she was striving to be perfect, and I feel like, that was a true depiction probably of what she was dealing with at the time, because the
Hmm.
only way she's able to be the leader and to continue to be the head and make the money and keep everybody happy is if she appears perfect and she's, you know, bowing to the powers that be to keep her show. So I think there's a lot of dynamics. I think she was kind of in a hard position, as a Black supermodel to fit the confines of white, the construct of beauty according to European standards, but yet trying to widen those boundaries and include some others. But so I think she was just in a no-win position. But her inability to reflect on that is what I had a problem with.
Okay.
She seemed unable to really give voice to that position she was in,
Even
you
after
know.
all this time, yeah, I get it now.
Yeah,
I get
just
it.
I mean,
Yeah.
and maybe that's how she has to deal with it by not,
Mm.
really allowing herself to feel, and to empathize. But it was quite interesting, and I think the show for a lot of women it had a big impact on women, a lot of women. Another kind of interesting story, another big pop culture hit. The Blind Side was one of the biggest movies um, back in the day. One of the biggest movies, biggest I call them the Great White Hope movies. So I'm not really I'm not really
Get
a
white
fan of
off.
like the Great White Hope movies, but The
Yeah.
Blind Side was very popular. But The Blind Side star Quentin Aaron is on the road to recovery after a life-threatening health crisis that began in January 2026. Because I remember hearing that he was, potentially, potentially could be we could lose him. Um, he was initially hospitalized and placed on life support for what we thought was supposed to be a severe blood infection. Doctors have now confirmed the actor suffered from a rare spinal stroke. Now fully
Mm.
alert and out of intensive care, Aaron is regaining feelings in his legs and focusing on rehabilitation. His recovery is further complicated by a legal battle. His family has obtained a restraining order against a woman who allegedly misrepresented herself as his spiritual wife in order to make medical decisions. He is best known for playing Big Mike in The Blind Side. But yeah, so when you have a situation like that, you're the only person that is supposed to be able to make decisions for you would be your legal spouse.
Yeah.
And he has a woman who claimed to be his wife, but there was no actual
Paperwork. That's weird. How did she get past security? Security.
no idea. I have no idea how but I guess in a situation like that, the hospital has a responsibility to be thorough, but you wouldn't
Yeah.
think that someone would lie about that when someone is in that type of, but someone that's a celebrity, there are
Yeah.
always people that are crazy that are doing that. But a GoFundMe is up for his medical expenses and has already surpassed its $35,000 goal with the Blindside production company. Alcon Entertainment notably stepping in with a $10,000 donation, which they probably should have given more. But that goes back to your point earlier. A lot of actors, even though they may have, he's
Yeah.
famous, he goes and he plays, people recognize him from The Blind Side, but he hasn't really had anything else um,
Yeah.
sustain, consistent. He hasn't had consistent work. So there was a need for them to put out a GoFundMe account for him to have help. And thankfully people did, help with his medical expenses. Very sad.
Yeah, we gotta keep our celebrities in prayer, I guess, right? I mean, because people are going. No, I mean, I'm not
Careful with
jokingly,
that
but
spiritual, yeah.
yeah, but
Just
see, people are going through a lot in this day and age, and just
yeah.
because you're on TV doesn't mean that you're not a human.
Right.
You know,
Right.
we should not put a person on a pedestal. Period. We all
Right.
human
Right.
beings, and everyone has a job. That it's a job. You're a celebrity. You're a rapper. You're a singer. You're
Oh, you're an actor or you're a
yeah,
musician or I guess
yeah,
you're a
yeah,
YouTube,
yeah.
the social media influencer, which to me that's not really a celebrity because I worked in
No, I know, but
publicity
yeah.
with actual, but nowadays people assume that is. But if you're an actor, your job is an actor. Your job may have more. Your job comes with the perk of being famous, but
Yeah,
that doesn't mean that you're any different than, to me, someone that works a job at Blue Cross and Blue Shield. It's the same. It's just your job is different. Your job, you make more money, and you are
yeah. You're more
famous, but
visible too. Yeah,
you're more
yeah.
visible. But you're at the end of the day, you're a person. Um, I guess we'll end this on a interesting note. The White House Black History Month. I don't know if there could be any bigger contradictory terms put together, but during a White House Black History Month event on February 19th, an 80-year-old grandmother and community activist from Chicago, Shirley Mama Rat- Ratliff, went viral for her spirited defense of the president. Stepping to the podium, she told critics to get off this man's back, praising the administration's efforts in urban communities. The moment served as a highlight for the administration's outreach efforts, though it stands in sharp contrast to the heated criticism from figures like those on The View. I
Oh
tell you
man.
what, if Miss Shirley says something, I'll be quiet. Whenever an 80-year-old woman says something, especially an 80-year-old Black woman says something, I'm gonna be quiet. I'm gonna give her the respect that she deserves. I may not agree, but I'm not gonna say nothing. I'm just gonna
Yeah,
be
I
quiet.
mean, it's true, but we're talking about a president who I don't even know what to say. It's not like she is saying something about a person or in defense of a person that doesn't care about people, who call other black and brown countries shitholes, who say despicable things about other people that he does not like. And only when he's praised, then he wants to hug and kiss people and say nice things. And you can't. That's not the way how a human's supposed to be. Supposed to be. I mean,
Well, I think she has a right to her perspective. Everybody
it's
does.
true. It does. Yeah, she does.
Ratliff is a longtime Chicago activist, and she argued that the current administration is doing more for our people than past politicians who only showed up for a vote. So that's her perspective. I think she has a right to her perspective.
I
You may
get
not
it.
agree with it, but she has a right. She's 80 years old. She has a right to say whatever she wants. And I do think that politicians on both sides, I would just say this,
Yeah.
politicians on both sides have continued to use the Black community as a pawn, and they do not find interest or value in our community until it is time for elections.
True.
And then we see a lot of catering and pandering, and it is insulting, I think, to most of our intelligence. So I understand what she's saying, but I think it happens on both sides. I think well, the Republicans don't do as much pandering. They're more so like we don't really care. But the Democrats do a lot of pandering to the Black community when it's an election and when we can be used. And I think that my my opinion on that is that we need to understand the power of our influence and the power of our vote. And we need to, instead of being used as a pawn, make politicians listen to what we have to say. And if they're going to show up when it's time for election, I think we need to show up with our demands and require that they actually follow through with that. Because what happens is they show up right around election time, they say a lot of things, and then after they're elected into office, they don't live up to any of those things. And I think that has been the case with both sides, which is why I don't ascribe to either party, right? Because
Same here.
I've watched and been involved or like watched from a behind the scenes perspective as both sides have shamelessly catered to the Black community when they want to be in office. Hillary Clinton saying that she had hot sauce in her bag
Why would you do that? I
and
don't even
talking
understand
about,
that.
having, eating fried chicken. Like, come on, man.
Joe
Like,
Biden, if you're not black, if you don't vote for me,
you
like
don't,
what?
yeah, like, I don't, that to me is
Yeah.
insulting. So I think it happens on both sides. Yes, we are under the oppression of one side right now, but this is a outlier situation. But we're
You're
talking
right.
about politics and the way that our communities are really just like like they come and they give us some trinkets. I'm gonna say this and it sounds probably really bad, but you come over and bring some great pop and some fried chicken and march with the band and think that we're
Yep.
supposed to be triggered to vote for you and feel like you're a part of our communities with that. I don't That's insulting. Um Bill Clinton goes on Arsenio Hall and plays the saxophone, and then people start saying, "Oh, he's the first Black president." No, 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 no,
Yeah,
no, no, no.
yeah,
That's
yeah.
wrong. And I think we've perpetuated a lot of that. We have to stop. Just
Yeah,
because you
you're
are
right.
playing a saxophone in a soulful way does not make you Black. Just because you come over and make um, some really like insulting Urban Dictionary terms and throw them around and act like you're
Hmm.
a part of the culture does not mean that we're going to accept that. And I think we have to start standing up and saying, no, I don't care. Don't put hot sauce in your bag, ma'am. Don't do any of that. Don't come over here talking the street vernacular that you think is going to connect with us. Show us what you're
Yeah.
doing in our community. Stop the pandering. Stop it.
Hot sauce in her purse.
Stop
Come
it. I
on,
mean,
man.
I saw that personally. I was at Morehouse for
Mhm.
Hillary Clinton. I was excited to go see her speak. And she came out trying to like step with the Morehouse band. She was talking about hot sauce and fried chicken. And I was just like, yeah,
Yeah,
no,
yeah, you
that's not
lost
how
us right
you
there, yeah.
and then
Mhm.
I've been behind the scenes with like some of these um the political when they're doing their strategy and they're trying to figure out how to reach the African American community, and they are doing saying things that to me they act like
Hmm.
we're not able to understand. Like even I won't say that because I know that's going to cause a lot of backlash. But I've just seen some really bad things, and I'm like,
Yeah,
that's not how you can. We're we are intelligent. We are able to understand policy. You don't have to try to
dumb it down for
hypnotize
us, and
us,
yeah,
dumb
yeah.
down things to hypnotize us with promises of free gas and watermelon. It's the equivalent of like okay, I'll stop.
You
But
said
I
like
get
free
yeah, but
gas
they
card, a Kroger
yeah
gas
they
card.
do stupid stuff like that and come out and like yeah we'll give candy to the kids and it's like it's my own soapbox.
and
I've seen it
an
and I'm like
eight piece chicken
yeah
dinner.
like I don't
Yeah,
say that
yeah.
fried
No, you
chicken
know
like what
what?
the hell's wrong with
It
you?
no, it's funny because I remember growing up in the Caribbean, and that same thing happening with my dad going
Mhm.
to vote. And the politicians promise they'll fix the roads and they'll do this and they'll do that, and it never happened. Just take them.
No.
It's just so funny. It's just so but I'm laughing because I remember all these things that we see in the news, and today. I'm just like, are you kidding me? Are you for real?
I say when I will say it. I'm gonna say it. It's okay if people
Yeah,
get mad at me. When Kamala Harris is running for president and her plan for black men involved cannabis.
yeah,
Now,
that part, and then
the other side obviously didn't have a plan at all, or the plan might have been to send us back to the plantation. I don't know, but her plan was for us to, I, the, to assume that black men are not concerned about anything besides weed is insulting,
it is, it is.
very insulting. And I thought we would have been past that, specifically from a woman who has African American ancestry.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, but
So
it goes
anyway,
deeper than that. Yeah,
I'm just yeah, I'm over. I think everyone has a right to their opinion, but I'm over our community being used as political pawns against ourselves
yeah, pretty much.
because
Yeah,
you don't have long-term change for us in store, right? And so that's why I think that we should just I say this all the time on my channel, like I believe in that old African proverb, physician, heal thyself. Stop looking outside of our communities for help. They're trying to use us. Neither side really gives a damn.
mm,
And we need to focus on internally building our communities with economic empowerment and not wait on others to save us. There is no great white hope coming because they
no, there
don't
isn't.
really
Yeah.
care. And we don't need them to care. Just get out of our way. I'm sorry. I went on a political
No,
rant
no,
today.
you said it. You said it right thing. You said it right. Listen, we gotta, as a community, support ourselves, support each other, support small businesses, support black businesses, big, medium size, support a black business, not just in this month, but every month.
Period.
We should be wearing black brands. We should be using black soap. We should be drinking black products, coffee, drinks, food. I mean, we should supplement most of our brands with black owned brands. That's what I believe we should do. I know
That's how you really create
it's
economic
hard, but
empowerment.
yeah, yeah, but
No,
we could do it.
that is how we can do it, and we actually want to encourage you all to
Yeah.
visit a black brand today. Canvas Beauty is owned by Stormy Steele, who is a reality star. She was on Love and Marriage Huntsville, and now she's on Bell Collective Birmingham. But most importantly, she is a amazing entrepreneur. I had the opportunity to visit with her this past weekend, and she's powerhouse herself. But she has a Canvas Beauty was something that she started for herself because she wanted to wear natural hair. There's creams, lotions, and hair products. So please visit Canvas Beauty today. And I think we have to start. This is what I want to say to us before we leave. And I will say that this may not be. Well, I will say this is the thoughts of Lennox and Parker and the reprint. We don't. We need to stop finding reasons not to support each other. right? So when she was on Love and Marriage Huntsville, there was this idea of people couldn't support her if they supported Melody Rogers. We don't need to be fighting with each other. We need to support each other in tandem, right? You don't have to pick a Black business to support. We need to be supporting all all. That is the only way to get our
Yeah,
community to the
true.
next place. If we are cherry picking who we want to support based on who we like, and we don't have time for that. We don't have time for that. Do you guys see what's going on with this administration? There is no time. There is
Yeah.
actually a story that we'll talk about on Monday that I want to talk about today, where there is a politician that is trying to send Native Americans, trying
Yeah.
to say, let's get rid of Native Americans, and basically saying, we conquered them before, let's do it again. Native Americans don't bother anybody at
Nope.
all. They are
Nope.
so unproblematic. But we need to realize that this country, the way that politics are moving, we are not a priority, and we're becoming less and less of a priority. We're actually becoming a target. And if
Yeah.
you are busy worrying about who you want to support versus who you don't want to support, that is a Black or brown person, you are part of the problem. You are a bigger part of the problem than a politician who is racist, because
Yeah.
a politician who is racist does not have direct access to us. We are here together. And if we are fighting each other, I feel like someone that looks like me is a much bigger threat to me than someone that does not, because you're closer to me, you have access to me. If
Yeah.
a Black person degrades a Black business, then that business is done. You know what I mean? A
Yeah.
Black
Yeah.
person can degrade a non-Black business, and your words and your threats won't touch it. But
Yep. True.
if you put words of enmity against your own, those words stick, those words have the ability to hurt. And so that is much worse. Anything that I do to my sister is going to hurt much worse than what someone from outside does to us. So all the pettiness, and I don't now true, we do need to get our customer service in a better place, and we do
Of
need to
course.
strive for excellence within our businesses. But the negativity from personal, I don't, a lot of these brands like that, I use a lot, I love body butter. I don't know who creates most of those. I just go to Walmart and I pick it up, right? But
Right.
if I know it's a Black face associated with that, then something often in us says, well, I don't like this person, or she rubbed me the wrong way. Child, everything that you pick up does not, you don't know what detergent, the person that you buy the detergent from, you don't know them. You don't have the opportunity to say you don't like them,
That's true.
right?
You're right. Yeah.
So I think we need to take
Toilet
the
paper,
personality
light bulbs. Yeah.
take the personality out of the business and patronize your community so that we can have economic empowerment, and that will trickle down. If you have a business, try to employ other African Americans. I know, attending a PWI, most of the students that I went to college with, when they left that OU, they had a job lined up because their father had a friend put him
Mm-hmm.
as a,
Yep.
a position of leadership in their company. And so we have those opportunities. We need to do those as well. I have a friend that has been a camera person I've known for years. He called me and said his daughter wanted to do video. We went to Lennox and Parker, hosted a photo shoot. We did a video shoot. I hired his daughter to do it. That's what we need to be doing.
Yeah.
Find
Yeah.
opportunities to teach, to mentor, to inspire within your business, and make sure that you are patronizing other businesses. I
Now,
guess it is Black
n-
History Month, so I'm on a soapbox, but I'm gonna stay
no,
on this soapbox
no,
for the
you're
entire
right.
year.
Now, not only that, but not only patronize, but people who are in control of businesses do better. Treat
Do
people like
better, right?
treat people like human beings. Treat people better. If your customer service isn't good, fix it. We should also give that business a chance to fix whatever is wrong and give it an opportunity to change. And on business, if you are out there and you have a problem with customer service or person or personnel or whatever, fix it. A lot of
Yeah,
times you have good product, but if you have bad service, people speak about that and you get mad. No, fix it. Hire somebody
fix it.
else. Bring somebody else and train. It comes down to money because you got to train your employees. You got to train people. You got to hire the right people. Be around the right people. You know what I'm saying? And training doesn't have to be something that's so expensive or crazy. It could be a huddle, a morning, afternoon group huddle. Hey, smile today, say a good word, let's pray together. These are things that we can do. But as a community, like you said, we need to do better. We need to act better, do better, and we need to support each other, from water to light bulbs to soap to clothing to whatever, skincare, hair, doesn't matter. Support a Black brand, Black business.
Support a Black brand,
Yeah.
regardless of your personal feelings. And we're going to continue the reprint. We have a lot of things coming. We're going to have tech conversations. We're going to have sports
Yeah.
conversations. We're going to have entrepreneurship conversations. I want to leave you all with the inspiration quote of the day. It comes from Snap Yourself into a new reality.com. You can visit snapyourselfintoanewreality.com for inspiration. They provide our inspirational quotes every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. And today's is: willpower is the power to hold a vision steady long enough for disciplined action to turn it into a reality. I'll say that again. Willpower is the power to hold a vision steady long enough for disciplined action to turn it into a reality. So, in addition to having an idea, you have to have the willpower to add disciplined actions with that thought to turn it into a reality. It says most people misunderstand willpower. In fact, they don't even know how important it is to professional career and a life well lived. The power of your will is the power of your will is the power to force your mind to hold a new vision steady long enough to create and execute an action plan that will turn it into a reality. The secret isn't excitement. The secret isn't motivation. The secret isn't positive thinking. The secret is steadiness and the ability to mean it when you say, I will go to the gym 5 days a week, or I will do this or that. Your willpower is the power tool that your soul uses to force your mind to execute a new plan over the plan it has been pre-programmed to execute. So check out snap yourself into a new reality.com, or just tune in every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday as we'll have a inspirational quote from Mark I. Johnson.
Awesome. This was great. Thank you for that, Crystal. Thank you.
Absolutely. All right. Well, this was good. I guess we
Yeah.
were ending the week strong. We got just one more week of Black History Month, but as you guys know, here at Lennox and Parker, there's no such thing as Black History Month. We just
Yep.
Black all day, every day.
All day, every day. Love it. You guys enjoy
All
your
right.
weekend.
So, yeah, you guys enjoy your weekend. I'm gonna get some time out with my horses.
Woo!
Yeah, I spent some time with them yesterday. Just kind of, I needed to center. Had a rough day yesterday, so looking to kind of get some rest to feel better. And next week will be our last week, and then we're going to take a week off.
Yeah.
The reprint is going to take a week off after February ends. Um, our last day on air will be next Wednesday, the 25th, and then we will be back on March 9th with an all new reprint with a lot of new segments and some new things that we're excited to share. So we look
Yeah.
forward to continuing to grow with you all. Have a blessed weekend, and we will see you back here on Monday. Remember,
Yes.
9 a.m. on the West Coast, and of course, 12 noon here on the East Coast.
East
We love you
Coast.
guys, and we'll see you next week.